Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how to use this easy torn edge technique to create a beautiful sunset for this card. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, I'm going to start this card with a simple torn edge technique. So I'm going to take my cardstock and pull it towards me to create this natural torn edge. You can vary it as much as you like simply by pulling a little farther down. I've done that on my Coastal Cabana. I'm going to repeat that on my Calypso Coral. Next I'm going to tear the Daffodil Delight. And at this point I can decide which way I like my torn edge. So I'm going to start with the bottom here, add my Calypso Coral on the top, and then add my daffodil. Oops, need to turn this over. And then add my daffodil on the top. And I've got my torn edge on the bottom. Or I can turn this over and put my daffodil on the top, my Calypso Coral in the middle, and my Coastal Cabana on the bottom. And I happen to like that way a little better, so that's the way I'm going to adhere them to my cardstock. So I'm going to take these off and begin adhering. Now I'm okay if they don't completely match because my die cut piece will go over the top of this and give me a little bit of coverage. And I'm going to flip this Calypso Coral around like so. And of course you can make sure it's straight with your grid paper, and then I'm going to add the Coastal Cabana on the bottom. I just love these summertime colors together. They're just beautiful and give you the feeling of the beach. And like I said, a little bit of white showing is not a problem because we're going to put the die cut over the top of that. The main thing is you want the layers where you want them. Okay, I've got my piece here and I've got my die cut piece that I can lay over the top. Now when I cut my basic white, I did it just a tiny little hair smaller than my Secret Sea piece here so that I had this look that I wanted. So at this point I am going to bring in my card front. I'm going to adhere this directly down onto my card front. And then because I like to add my layers without any pop-up to my card base first, I'm going to adhere this down. Like so. Next I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use my minis for this. I'm going to tuck one in each corner, and I'm simply giving that frame a little bit of support all the way around and removing the backing. Once I have that done, I'm going to bring in my card front here, and I'm going to line up the edges and lay that right in place. There we go. I've got that seated and I'm ready to bring in my cloud. And my other pieces, deciding where I want to place them. Now to support this that's hanging over both areas, I'm going to add a dimensional to the one side and a little bit of adhesive to the other. And that way I can lay it right in where I'd like it. Let's see, I'm going to slide this over a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to decide where I'd like my birds. Now these are really tiny, and so I find using my Take Your Pick tool making it a little easier to adhere them. Now I'm going to add a little dot here where I'd like the first bird, and I'm going to do that with the larger bird. I'm going to place the body right there on that glue dot. That's just tone on tone to add a little bit of color. And then I'm going to add my larger bird here. So I'm going to put a dot here, pick that bird up again, and place it right on that dot. And in this case, I want that wing tucked under like so. And then the final bird, I'm going to put right up here. So a little bit of dot, and pick up that bird and place it like so. Okay, I've got my card front done, and I have built this card on a hot dog fold. So this is scored at 5.5, and it measures 4 1/4 in width, and I did that so that I could wrap my white twine around here. So I'm going to simply place this on the outside edge and wrap. Now this is cut a little longer, but I want this to go around 3 times. And let's see, I'm going to spread this out a little bit. And I'm doing this card this way because I want my sentiment to be optional on the inside. And this allows me to customize the card when I'm ready to send into the type of card I want, since there's no sentiment on the outside. And I'm going to take that, let's see, I need to stretch this over. So I'm going to loosen that up, pull, and I want to spread this out again. And I'm going to tie it here on the right side simply by making a little bow. Now if you have problems doing bows wrapping around the base like this, the easiest thing to do is make it a little tighter so that when you let go of the baker's twine, it will be snug against your card front. So I've got the bow the way I'd like it. I'm going to plump it a little bit more on this side simply by pulling it a little larger, and I am going to trim the ends like so. I love this kind of bow because it wraps around the inside. You can easily adjust where you want it after you finish tying it. So there you go, a quick and easy torn edge card using the Sunset Coasts dies, which are simply beautiful in silhouette. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.